Hey, it's Jeff Sauer here, and I want to talk to you about permissions in Google Analytics. Specifically about the different access levels you can have in your Google Analytics account and what you can do with each of these levels of access. Now, I'm creating this video at the request of one of our analytics course students who wanted a deep dive into what permissions you have in Google Analytics and what you can do with each permission level. And I thought it would be a good video to share with you as well, just so you can see exactly how Google approaches permissions in Google Analytics. Now, this is something that's changed a little bit over the years, and people might not really understand exactly what's available to them, or they might not know how to ask for permission that they deserve. And one thing you'll notice in this video is at the end, I give you a script and a playbook for how you can ask for the permission that you deserve. And really, it's a pretty simple process that you can follow. So make sure you watch along and you can see the process that I've used over the years in order to gain access to Google Analytics accounts. The hint is that it's all about reducing risk for the person who's giving you access. So if you've ever had trouble getting into Google Analytics because you don't have the right permission levels and you can't make the updates that you need to update in order to understand what's going on so you can do the proper reporting, any of that stuff, watch this video because I can tell you my secrets for how I can get into a Google Analytics account and the reason why nobody ever says no, because I lay out exactly what they need to do and what I'm going to do with that access. So let's talk about how do you make sure you have the right permissions and the right access levels in Google Analytics. Let's talk about permissions in Google Analytics. Now, you probably know this, but maybe you don't. What you can do in Google Analytics is determined by your permissions levels. And so you may log into Google Analytics and see you can do all kinds of fun stuff in there. That means that you have a pretty substantial permission, and you can use that permission in order to make changes to your account. Or you might log into Google Analytics and notice that you're pretty much on lockdown. You can't do anything fun, and you basically only have the ability to view reports. Now, your permission level is what determines whether or not you can do these cool things or not. And within Google Analytics, there are three major levels of access permissions. The first one is called Read and Analyze permission. Now, if you look in Google Analytics, here's this thing called Read and Analyze, and that's a permission that you can assign to any user in Google Analytics. Now, if you're just getting started in Analytics, or if you've just looked at the Google Analytics demo account, you are going to have Read and Analyze permissions only. Now, this is a way to make sure that nobody can really rock the boat when it comes to analytics. They can see the data, they can be an analyst, but they can't make any changes, and they can't really bother or upset the status quo that's going on in a Google Analytics account. And as you can probably guess, this is the most basic level of access that you can get in Google Analytics. It's the beginner level of access in Google Analytics. Now, this is great for people who are just getting started or in big accounts, like, for example, the Google Analytics demo account, where you don't want people to be able to communicate and make all these different changes because there's just so many people in the account that it would probably cause chaos. Now, this is just your casual user account, somebody who's on a need-to-know basis when it comes to data. They need to know what's in the data, but you don't need to let them talk to other people about it or to make any kind of significant changes. The next level we have is called Collaborate permission. Now, Collaborate permission is pretty much the same as Read and Analyze. It just allows you to make changes to shared assets. So you can collaborate, edit, and annotate Google Analytics, and you can tell people exactly what you see in the data. So this is somebody who's an analyst but doesn't really have the technical chops necessary to really configure Google Analytics. They would have collaborate permission so they can collaborate with the team, but they can't really make any crazy changes. They basically can't do enough to be dangerous. They only can do enough to be able to communicate and to be able to talk to people and show them what they're seeing within analytics. Now, this permission's great if you're in a small organization or if you have a few people using Google Analytics and you want them to be able to share annotations, talk to each other, and just let everybody see what they're seeing. This is a really solid permission. But what you'll find is you're sort of nerfed when it comes to actually being able to do stuff. And yes, I use the verb nerfed to explain this, and basically it means that it's like a toy gun or something that's like super soft. You can't really do too much damage. It nerfs the entire process. If you really want to get crazy within Google Analytics, then you need edit permissions. And edit permissions, it's like everything else. It's like everything you can do inside of Google Analytics. This used to be what we'd call admin access. There used to be two different ways of doing analytics. You get like user access and admin access. This is really like admin access, only they've taken away something where you can't manage user permissions. So this is really cool. There's a lot of things you can do in it, and I'm going to show you all the things you can do with this type of access in just a second here. There's also a permission called user management, and if you want to take this literal, it's what you can do. You can manage users. You can add, delete users from an account. Now, you want to do this sparingly. You want to make sure that only people who you trust and who know what they're doing can have this level of access, because basically if you get managed user access, you can manage the entire account. You can add people. You could even lock somebody out of their own account if you were too crazy, if you wanted to get crazy with this permission. So be very careful when you apply this permission. Now, there's 3 places where these permissions can be applied. The most basic and the most highly restricted is at a view level. Now, if you just want to give somebody access to view your reports in Google Analytics, you don't want to let them change anything, I would give them read and analyze permissions, and I would do it at a view level. Basically, it's like putting them inside of a padded cell and minimizing the amount of damage they can do. It's nerfing on the nerf. It's basically, you can't really do much if you only have read and analyze access to a single view. There's property level, which is where it's fairly restricted, and that's right in the middle, where basically each web property, which for anybody who takes analytics course knows that a property is each domain name that you would like to track individually. Then you can say, okay, this user can only track this domain name, and this is where they have their permissions to. And then there's the account level, which is not restricted at all, meaning that anybody can do anything when they have user access to an account. They can see everything within your account. Now, if they have read and analyze access, they could read and analyze everything in your entire account. And so you definitely want to be very careful with giving away that unbridled access, because I know a lot of companies, especially the bigger ones, have a lot of different properties, a lot of things in their account that they don't want anybody to see. They don't want people to see the skeletons in their closet, or they don't want to even know that there's stuff in that closet. That's really what it comes down to. Most companies don't have skeletons in their closet when it comes to analytics, but they might have some stuff that they don't want people to draw false conclusions or to see the wrong thing. So I almost never give away user management to an entire account unless that person knows what they're doing, unless they really know exactly what they're getting at. And of course, you can see who has permissions and where they have permissions. So here's an example of some people who have permissions. The permission level, of course, I've obscured some of their other data, their email address and stuff like that. But you can see what type of privileges they have within the Jefflytics account. And some people have no permissions at the account level. They only have permissions at the property or view level, depending on who they are. Now, this transparency when it comes to Google's user management and how they show you the transparent piece, I've actually been pretty outspoken about it, because I thought it was a pretty bad idea when Google decided to let you see who's in the account. But I wrote an article on it. Maybe that's something you're interested in seeing. We'll link to it in our notes for this video as well, just so you can see why I thought that was a pretty bad idea. Now, what can you do with each access level? This is a question that came in from Anya, who's a student of analytics course. She said that I want to know about the limits of each permission level, i.e. what can you do and what can you not do within each permission level. Not only that, she said, as an analyst, can you create custom segments if you have the analyze report? What permission do I need to have in order to create a goal? And then Anya continues on. She says, how do I go about asking my clients to give me access as a consultant? Do I just ask them for read only and then tell them, okay, well, I have read only access, but I need to do these other things? And then do I go ahead and offer to do the work for them if they give me the permissions? This is a great question. And so I'm going to answer all of these different questions from Anya to round out this video. Let's talk about what you get when you have read and analyze privileges in Google Analytics. The first thing is that you can view reports. You can view the reports, pretty straightforward. If you have any access to Google Analytics and it's assigned to a view, at least you can view reports. You can do table filters, which is where you type something into your table and filter it down, only looking for certain things. You could even do a regular expression in your table filter, not a problem at all. You can get secondary dimensions. You can create custom segments, so you can look at views of the data any way you want to, even with that read and analyze permission. You can create your own custom reports. You can create dashboards. You can share those dashboards with other people. And you can see the reports that other people have shared. So this is pretty much the functions that most people use in Google Analytics. If you're read and analyze, you're not restricted on anything. Now, if you want to see this in action, simply go to the Google Analytics demo account and you can see exactly how this works. You know the privileges you have and you basically have read and analyze. It is a textbook example of what you get when you have read and analyze permissions. Now, collaborate permissions are very similar to read and analyze, but just a little bit more goes into them. You can do everything you can do in read and analyze, But you can also edit and make changes to shared assets. Now you're probably wondering what a shared asset is. That's like your dashboards, annotations, custom reports, these things that you can share. You can actually make changes to these and let people know that you're there. You can basically let your presence known within the account. If you don't have collaborate access, nobody even knows that you're in there. And what I would say in summary is that this is a very small improvement over read and analyze, but it's an important one if you're a part of the team. Basically, read and analyze, you are not part of the team. You're a need-to-know person. Collaborate means you are part of the team. We're just nerfing all of your ability to do the technical stuff. And then there's edit permissions. And as you can probably imagine, you can do pretty much whatever you want to do when you have edit privileges. You can add, view, delete an account. You can delete a property. You can delete views. Nuts, right? That's crazy. You can do all that stuff with edit privileges. Like, I don't even want that responsibility, but apparently you can do that if you have edit privileges. You can add, edit, delete filters. This is when it gets crazy. Basically, edit privileges is like the time that you can screw everything up. And so if you have edit privileges, you need to make sure you know what you're doing, and you need to be careful. Don't just push stuff if you don't know what you're doing. You can add, you can edit goals, and do whatever you need to around goals. There's all kinds of stuff you can do on the back end. Now, what I would warn you is that these privileges are best for advanced users, people who know what they're doing, people who have been in Google Analytics, people who are certified, people who have gone through the entire process of learning this stuff inside out. You can set up e-commerce. You can create calculated metrics. You can link AdWords. You can link Google AdSense. You can import data, any data you want to, as long as Google supports the import format. If you have edit privileges, you can do that. You can adjust property settings like sessions, user ID, referral exclusions. You can adjust anything you want to. Basically, you can do everything but add and remove users. And so like the movie Anchorman, that really escalates fast once you have edit privileges. And so it shouldn't be taken lightly. Actually, most people don't need any more privileges than privileges they have for collaborate or read and analyze because they don't know how to do these things. They wouldn't even know what to do if they had these options available to them. So be careful and don't overdo it. Just because you think that you need edit privileges, make sure you know how these things work. Make sure you know what you're doing. So what access do you need? That's something you should be asking yourself. But more importantly, if you do need more access, how do you get the access that you deserve? My first question is, are you Google Analytics certified? And this is a shameless plug for Analytics course because I'm going to tell you that Analytics course gets you Google Analytics certified. It tells you what you need to know in order to understand how Google Analytics works from the ground up. It gets you the technical pieces. It shows you where to find the code on Google's website to make sure that you have the right code in place to do things. It tells you how to apply a filter. It tells you how to create different views so you don't mess up your filters. It tells you how to set up goals. How do you edit your goals? It tells you all these things. And so if you take Analytics course, 1, you deserve edit access. 2, you're going to become Google Analytics certified because that's what the whole course is all about. And so yes, are you Google Analytics certified? And if you're not, you should be taking my Analytics course. And yes, that's a shameless plug, and I'm proud of it because I put a lot of work into making sure that people can go from zero to really understanding this stuff throughout my course. But maybe you're stubborn, you don't think you need the course, or maybe you already know all these things, right? Anya is a student of Analytics course, so her question is really, how do you gain access? Here's my process that I use to get access to accounts. 1, explain exactly what you're going to do, why, and how you're going to do it. Be transparent. People don't want to give away unbridled access to somebody if they don't know what they're going to do with it. Be very clear with what you're going to do and why you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. It removes a lot of that fear. Explain the risk of the change that you're making and how you are going to mitigate that risk. Yes, this implies an extra level of knowledge. You need these privileges because you understand the risks. That's another important thing. People don't want risk. Of course they don't. The powers that be, the ones who control access, do not want risk. That's probably why they've been given the responsibility to be able to control the access, because they're the ones who minimize risk. Explain to them how you're going to do it, and then you might be able to get access to it. Show your experience, and then give examples that give them confidence in your abilities. What did you do that makes you an expert? What did you do that makes it so you can do this thing? Is it from taking the course? Is it from your certification? Have you done this before? Show them exactly why. Why do you deserve it? And then develop a plan with the exact timeline that these things are going to be done.
People love timelines. They love plans. If you can see it in a plan, then they can poke holes in it. And they probably won't if you do your homework. That's the thing. People are always so afraid of getting turned down or getting rejected on something. And guess what? If you do your homework, if you do your due diligence and you say exactly what the risks are and how you're going to mitigate them, you will not get rejected because there's nothing to reject. It's not some kind of just magic game that we think is going to happen where, oh, I think they're going to give me access. No, it's pretty simple. They trust you, and you did your work to show them you should be trusted. Stop guessing. Stop assuming that somebody's going to give you something or not going to give you something. That doesn't work. It doesn't work in this business. It doesn't work in any business. What you need to do is you need to show that you did your homework. You need to show the work. You need to give proof of work, and it's going to work out for you. Your plan is what shows people that you know what you're doing. And even if you're not sure, it's the journey that's a destination. Even if you're not confident in your analytic skills, the journey of developing that plan is what is going to give you the confidence you need. I didn't know how to do this stuff when I first started out. I had no freaking clue how to do anything in analytics. But you know what? The journey was a destination. I just kept on working at it. I kept on working, plugging away, and finally I became confident. And eventually I became so confident that I started to teach it. Funny, right? Somebody who started out not knowing anything about this is now your teacher, is now the one who's providing this video. The journey is the destination. If you can map out all these steps, then you deserve access, in my humble opinion. So do it. Map them out. Show the steps. Show proof that you know what you're doing. Now, how do you learn these steps? Another shameless plug. Analytics course is the way that you do it. That's why I created this. I created an analytics course so you can do this. So you can get the access you deserve. So you can make the changes that are impactful for your organization, for your client's organization. Anybody can learn and can do these things through analytics course. And finally, I'm going to leave you with a question. Do you have the right privileges to get your work done? If you have done all these things that we're talking about and you still can't get access and you still can't do your job, do the things that you want to do, then leave a comment on this post and we will help you get access. We will run by your email, we'll look at it, we'll proofread it, we'll see what we can do in order to help you get access. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you're going to get access because some people are difficult, but we're going to help you do these steps. That's my offer to you in this video for sitting through this and listening to this long of a video. That's what I'm going to do for you. Leave a comment on this post and we are going to do our best to help you get access. And while you're at it, if you think this is useful, subscribe to our Jeffalytics YouTube channel. It is awesome. I love it. And you're going to love it too. And join our free Google Analytics mini course. If you're on the fence about whether you need my analytics course, even after this very insightful video where I got pretty animated, I used the word nerfed like 10 times, and overall just gave you pure value as to how you can do a better job as an analyst. If you're still on the fence, just take the free course. It's free. You go to analyticscourse.net, you sign up, put in your email address, and I just give you more wisdom. I just keep on giving. I give. And eventually at some point, I am going to ask you to get out your credit card and to purchase analytics course. And you know what? If you stick with me this whole time and you decide, hey, I like this guy, this Jeff guy, he's just giving me value, then at that point, maybe I'm going to see you inside of the full analytics course. And you know what? That's going to be the best day of my life. I really look forward to that. And I look forward to teaching you Google Analytics from the ground up and just making you love this stuff as much as I do. And that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you're part of our 90-day challenge, make sure you sign up there at jeffalytics.com and sign up for the 90-day challenge. And that way you can get notified whenever we put out a new video. And at analyticscourse.net, when you sign up there, you get our weekly tips and videos and insights. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll talk to you soon.